It is the Riots. You're with Hudson and Nikki, and if you stick around to the end, which you really should, you'll be with Jane from Nightbirde as well.
It was so nice having her in, and she's amazing. She was on America's Got Talent last night, or whenever you were listening, the night it aired.
It was on Tuesday.
It was on something, okay? Because I know you guys listen to the podcast at different times, but she performed her song, It's Okay, which we play here on RadioU, and just amazing to see the support and just how inspiring her time on the show was. And she got a golden buzzer.
Yes.
So her time will be increasing.
Yeah.
When
It sounds like, unfortunately, we have to wait a while. I think that's unfortunate for everybody. We're all so excited. We just want to see more, but it's going to be a little while before she has to return or gets to return.
Yeah. But I would suggest when you're done with this podcast, during the song, so you guys are only hearing like 2 parts of it. But if you want to hear more, if you watch her interview with us, if you go to RadioU Riot on Facebook and YouTube, we say this a lot. You should already be joining us there. But if not, if you watch the interview, you can even catch more from a lot of questions people had for her.
Yeah, so that's a big part of the podcast, something we're really excited about. And then the other non-interview stuff. Well, I get very passionate. I've pushed to the edge this morning. By Friends
With your
News.
friends? Did you put both things in there?
Yes, both of them are in there. So we start
out the Friends cruise.
Right.
And
that was fine. That's one thing. And then when we get to the Friends musical, that's when I lose it.
You just can't handle it.
I can't do it. It's so that was tough for me to. But then, fortunately, we had Nightbirde come in after, so I was able to get all of that bad stuff out.
You got it pulled together.
Yep, pulled together, and we had a good time with Nightbirde.
There's a lot of stuff. Enjoy the podcast today. Seriously, thank you guys for listening, and show love and support to Nightbirde when you're done with the podcast and done watching it.
Of course.
But make sure you follow her and just tell her what a great job she really did.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Okay.
And we'll talk to you next time.
Okay, have a good day. Bye, guys.
It is the Riot.
It's the worst of the Riot on RadioU.
My bank has certainly reminded me of this, that you can't put a price on 24/7 customer care, 24/7 support that you can actually, really count on. And it doesn't just come to banks. That's for everything.
That's across the board, right?
Yeah. And it reminded me, in a way, it reminds me of back in the days of our parents and probably even grandparents more so now. The days of landline phones.
Yeah.
If the phone rang in the middle of the night, your parents or grandparents would wake up and they'd be like, we got it. This is an emergency.
Because who would be calling at that time?
Timmy's got to go to the hospital. Sure, I'll come over and watch the other kids. Or Betty, you're having a... Yeah.
First off, Timmy, Betty, what is this?
It's your grandparents.
What is this? These names? Betty, I guess, maybe is the odd one.
Is you need to talk? Okay, let's. I'll be right over. That was the way it used to be. Now, unless you happen to be awake because you're gaming all night, you know what I mean? Like your friends aren't texting you in the middle of the night for support, are they? Are you texting your friends in the middle of the night? You probably don't want to trouble them. They're not going to answer. 24/7 support. A thing of the past. It's the thing of the past, and you just can't put a price on that. You cannot stress enough how important it is to just know you can pick up the phone.
Actually, your bank can, which is why they won't hire anybody to be the support that you needed. So technically, they can.
It is so valuable and now hard to come by.
Yeah.
And but that's what the great thing about God is that Jesus is that 24/7 support. Even if you can't necessarily, as close as your friends may be, you can't call them any hour of the day. You can't trouble them because they might be busy at work or asleep or whatever.
Do you feel like that's maybe why we sometimes don't want to go bother God with things, because we're so used to not bothering any of our friends and family with our problems?
Yeah, for sure.
It's just how we feel nowadays.
There's some stuff you just don't think either people won't understand, they won't have good advice for you, or you just don't want to trouble them because they've got their own stuff they're dealing with. Well, the stuff that God's dealing with is what you're dealing with. God's job is paying attention to what's going on with you. And so you always can count on him to be there for you whenever you need something, whenever you're feeling alone, whenever you're feeling like you need support. Jesus is there for you. And it's as simple as saying, hey, God, I need some help. I'm dealing with X, Y, or Z. I need you to help me here. Start talking to God like that whenever you have an issue. And if you want to know more, start with RadioU.com/free gift.
We've got an archive of everything stupid the Riot has ever said at your fingertips. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
How does a cruise with friends sound?
Well, I guess if you wanted to get together, I wouldn't want to cruise by myself.
Oh, that's a good point.
So I've never been on a cruise, but I guess it'd be helpful if you brought your friends.
What if I meant a cruise with friends, like the show?
Oh, the branding.
Does that change your opinion?
I feel like they're just selling the brand of Friends on and maybe they were doing this before, but I feel like they're just selling it to anything and everything while Friends was popular again.
It's getting it's getting ramped up, the Friends promotion of other things trying to chime in on the Friends craze, if you can even call it that, because there's some kind of buzz around the reunion special, but I didn't think it was too overwhelming. Maybe it's just because I tended to avoid it because I don't like the show.
But remember, that buzz was really when it was back on Netflix.
Right.
And that was years ago. And then the reunion thing was supposed to happen earlier.
Right.
But then with COVID, that got pushed back.
That's right. So maybe if it all had gone according to plan.
It's still getting more people than we could ever imagine.
Yeah, that's
watching
true.
it. Like, I'm sure it's still very good for them.
Well, if you're a dedicated diehard Friends fan, there is a cruise that could be for you. It's the Cruise with Friends. And, well, I mean, how could Nikki and I explain it better than they explain it themselves? The Cruise with Friends sets sail on the amazing Celebrity Equinox with 500 diehard fans on board. Immerse yourself in all things Friends, from a dress up as your favorite character event to testing your knowledge in a trivia game and much, much more.
They say you're going on an adventure with your besties. Hudson, you can take your besties on this.
My bestie Friends fans.
My besties won't want to go on a cruise.
No, neither would I.
I don't know. I think we'll have a hard time finding the friends to go on this cruise.
It's a Venn diagram of the people that love Friends and also want to go on cruises, and I don't know how many that is.
I wouldn't want to be stuck like if that was the whole thing. I would just want to have time on the ship that's
not Friends related.
Yeah, and
that's
I don't know
not
if that's
very
possible.
Extended out, tangentially related to Friends in some way.
Sometimes I just like it quiet. So if I was stuck on a boat, I would want there to be a quiet space.
Yeah,
without
you wouldn't
friends.
want people yelling "pivot" or whatever they say on the show. Is that what they say?
That's one part of it.
I just learned that recently.
That's an iconic part. Even I know which part it is.
Yeah.
But the cruise will go. Yeah, every time they go down the steps, the cruise will go from May 15th to May 21st next year. It'll be in Fort Lauderdale. Go through Key West, Georgetown, Grand Cayman. And a few other places before returning to Fort Lauderdale.
It just really feels that it's just a cruise, and they've added a couple elements to it that hardly relate to Friends, but then they can promote it as a Friends thing. And
they just charge you more. The cheapest inside stateroom, which I think means no window that you're looking in.
That's what everybody wants to do on their cruise.
That one is $1,648. The most expensive is a Sky Suite with a veranda deck. That is $3,048 per person for the Friends cruise.
We really need to be clear here. None of the characters from Friends are actually on this cruise.
They don't go do anything. It's not that.
They're really trying here to trick you into thinking that this is a special cruise and it's just a cruise.
Well, you make it special, Hudson, and you'll be with your friends. You know what makes it special?
Your friends, yeah, but not the actual friends from the show.
And the food will make it special.
Lower your expectations enough and you'll never be disappointed. You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
Nikki, I feel that the show, we're bad for each other in one way. At least in one way.
We haven't figured out the other ways, but at least in this way.
I've already figured out that we are bad for each other because so much of this show is turning into us saying things on the air that we don't want to say to Chris because we're too embarrassed. Chris, the engineer, he takes care of all the equipment here and stuff like that.
In the past, before you joined the show, we even have gone around and had like listeners email about
to
things.
Chris?
Yeah, or just like to RadioU, like anonymously.
And they just happen to be passed to Chris?
Well, just like, hey, we think RadioU would be better if blank.
Oh, if we had a soda machine in the break room.
That way it wasn't like us bringing it up. It was you guys. You brought it up. But this you really did need.
Yeah, Chris told me, he's like, well, now that you're getting settled in the studio and everything, why don't you just keep a note, keep a little log of anything you notice that maybe now you're sitting on the other side of the desk, you might want changed because there's nothing. We can figure it out. See
how positive he sounds?
It was very nice, very accommodating, but still, I don't like to make a lot of change. I don't like to cause a lot of trouble. And a lot of times I just feel like it's easier for me to suffer with a minor inconvenience than to inconvenience myself by talking to somebody
about fixing
something.
Yeah, but okay, so this was the keyboard that Hudson uses. The space bar's been going bad for a while. You guys were always like this.
Yep, everyone over here.
Every time someone would hit the space bar, I was like, gosh, why are they so like forceful? And you're just like... But that I didn't realize the space bar was broken.
It was, yes, it had a real issue where you could get it to work, but you really had to hit it in the right spot, and you had to be very deliberate about it.
You would hear this, you'd hear, and then boom.
Yep, that's right.
I used to think you were mad, or like that was your thing.
Or it's just my typing style, which it kind of is. I am a very loud typer.
Well, now you don't
because
need
I
to
don't
be.
actually know how to type, so that's part of it. Maybe I should ask Chris to teach me. But the funny thing about the keyboard was the keyboard that was on this side of the desk now used to be on the other side of the desk.
Yeah.
And it had the space bar issue over there as well.
It just got worse and worse.
And it got worse and worse. And then for some reason, we just transferred it over here to this. And I don't totally understand why we didn't just
Hudson,
get rid of it.
We're listener supported. So we really like to make sure things go
we're cutting
all
back with the
way
keyboards.
To the end.
Yep.
And
we get our full use out of them.
All the other keys were fine. It was just that one, but nice surprise is that Chris did bring you a new one.
He did bring it in after I talked to him in person, but now it's going to be, and I have to find the new issue that's going to slightly bother me, but not enough to where I want to actually bother Chris with it.
Maybe it's the fact that our air conditioning doesn't work still. Maybe
we
can hit that one up.
We just got these massive fans constantly blowing in the studio, except for when we're talking because they power down.
Our AC should be fixed. I think it's Friday Friday. But it was supposed to be fixed last
Friday. That's what they told us. And we had one day without the fans, and then all of a sudden it got real hot again.
But look at that. Now we have hope because your keyboard got fixed.
Yep.
So I'm sure the next thing will be the AC in here.
We can say what we want. Chris does take care of issues.
He does.
It's just we hate to bring them up to him.
And it's a lot of the stuff fixing it is just the way the things are now.
Yep.
We're lucky the AC's even being looked at.
That's
because
right.
everything takes so long.
It takes so long. It's the height of the season for AC to get fixed. So we should count our blessings.
That's right. We got a new space bar and a keyboard.
Let's put a positive spin on it.
The Riot has now been downloaded. I hope you installed some antivirus. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Be prepared the next time you stop by Chipotle. They are raising the prices, and the employees are to blame, according to the story.
They're saying that they hope to add like 20,000 more employees for Chipotle, but and they've increased their hourly wage to about, I think, like $15.
Yes, they're saying the average, not the minimum, but the average is going to be $15 by the end of June.
So the cost of that increase for employees means that they need to take that money from somewhere.
Yep.
And that means the burrito gets it.
It's funny to see how the differentiation between how the CEO represents
Phrases
it, where he says, we really prefer not to increase our pricing, but we want to invest in our employees. So he's putting all positive spin on it. And then like the news stories are like, it's the employee's fault that your burrito is going to cost more now.
It is kind of hard. You want employees to be paid the right amount.
Yeah.
And you understand they should be treating employees fairly. But then on the other side of the coin is if the prices get raised too much, people stop going.
That's right.
And then you don't need all those employees.
Stop going to Chipotle for a lot of reasons.
I know. Like Chipotle has to walk a fine line with that.
Yeah, they really do.
But they say that they've had to increase their hourly wages just to get people, like every other place.
Yeah.
It's hard to get people to want to work at all. So they've had to do this, and now they're saying they're going to increase product pricing, the whole menu, about 4% increase.
It's a weird percent to think about.
4%?
If you're like your burrito was $8 and you increase that by 4 cents or 4%, not quite 4 cents.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I just I feel for There's just no way to win, I guess is how I would put it. Because the alternative is people are complaining about Chipotle because their food isn't fast enough, but that's because they only have 3 people working.
I know.
And have you seen, it's been a specific problem with Taco Bells around here.
Yeah.
Where they will just actually close the restaurant temporarily because they don't have employees.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always sympathetic because I've worked in fast food and stuff like that. I understand why you wouldn't want to go work at Taco Bell for like $8 an hour. I sure wouldn't.
I'm sure it's lovely.
Yeah.
But here comes the text messages.
Although, I was going to say, of course, sometimes the people at Taco Bell aren't really working all that much for $8 an hour
something,
either.
and Chipotle, it's on its own thing. But Jason says, I can't wait to pay even more for cold and dirty tables.
Yeah.
There it is. I like Aaron. Aaron says, heaven forbid executives take a tiny pay cut.
Yes, Aaron.
For wage increases, maybe the money should be coming from that side of things.
Boom, Aaron.
So that's also something to think about. I got back into going to Chipotle just a couple of times because the one near me opened a drive-through pickup window.
Yep.
And then I realized I didn't like it as much. And that's just, how I am currently with Chipotle. And I don't want them to increase it because it's getting expensive at that point.
Would you believe I have not been to Chipotle since the initial E. coli situation they were having?
A long time
I haven't been because it was around that time that there was that going on shortly before I had a bad experience at Chipotle and I've heard other people have this exact same complaint. You put the order in online, you get wrong. There and they don't give you the order. Yeah. And eventually you have to go up to the counter because it wasn't ready when you got there, and then you wait and wait and wait, and then you go up and it's like, oh yeah, it's just been sitting here.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing?
I had that, and everything
that was before employee shortages, just to be clear.
Everything was still wrong with the order. Like if you got the Chipotle near our studios, no matter what I did, it was always wrong.
Well,
and it's like, is it my fault because I'm putting it in right? It's like I'm not even ordering in person where you might just not hear me right, but they want to charge you more for that honor.
Right. Well, maybe they weren't paying the employees enough to get it right the first time.
I think you get a lack also of just maybe you got the shift where no one was really invested in the order process.
No,
but
that happens a lot with fast food also.
Chipotle said they're increasing menu pricing by about 4%, and they want to hire 20,000 more workers, and they are taking it from that.
Well, good luck with that, Chipotle. I do hope it works out. I don't want to see companies going under. I don't want to see people waiting for their food. I just want to see everybody getting paid and getting their food. That's what I want.
You're asking a bit much, but that's fine.
The Riot. Just because it's bad doesn't mean it's not good. Wait, isn't that exactly what it means? It's The Riot on Radio U.
Now, I saw this story, and as soon as I saw it, I knew.
You knew?
We need to show this to Nikki.
Oh, is it for me?
It is the... Have you seen, I don't know how to pronounce the fashion house, the luxury fashion
Balenciaga.
house. Balenciaga. But that's less important than what they did. They made a high-heeled croc.
That is one ugly shoe. That is bad. And I know,
I thought it had you written all over it.
It does not.
Yeah,
it does. Not. It's not just the croc part. Like, that's fine. But it's the heel part.
It looks very cheap, doesn't it? For a luxury fashion house, it looks like they just kind of found a peg out of one of those, the little games you play at Cracker Barrel where you jump the pegs. It looks like they just found a peg and stuck it on the back of the shoe.
It looks like a peg or some sort of unit from IKEA that was just there and very inexpensive. But this is the Balenciaga platform croc. I think they did one in 2017.
Yes, they did a previous collaboration.
And this is the new one for the spring 2022 collection. For fashion houses, they do collections, Hudson.
Yes.
And so this is the new version of it, and it is something.
It doesn't look great, and I don't understand the draw of Crocs is that they're so practical and so comfortable.
Yeah.
And high heels are 100% the opposite. So
I think
maybe this is the perfect balance. You can finally have a high heel that accentuates your body and still is comfortable to wear.
See, the problem is no one's actually wearing these. You just buy them to have them.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to make too many of them. And so
they'll be too expensive.
They're too expensive. They sell out, and they're not like practical. And that's part of the appeal of them.
Well, if I can't interest you in the high heel version of the Croc, what about the chunky rain boot version that they're also working on?
You're going to have
Does
to
that sound good?
How about the Adidas slide version of it?
We'll have to get to work on that collaboration.
I normally only wear Adidas or Puma, but
so it's brand loyalty. What if there was an Apple Croc? Would you wear it then?
Well, yeah, if it do my emails and stuff, sure. If it typed it every time I walked. But they're
working on that also.
There's no pricing on how much this stiletto sort of heel Croc thing would be.
Yeah.
But you know it's going to be expensive.
Yeah, and you know it's going to sell out just because it's unique. But some people are upset about it. I guess Nikki's one of them.
I'm not. Now, it doesn't personally affect me. So don't make it seem like I'm so upset about it.
Yep.
I just am not interested in buying it. I don't need to come up with that money for it.
If you're looking for all the funny moments you missed during the riot, we apologize. You won't find them here. There weren't any. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
It finally makes sense why we have to keep talking about eating cicadas.
And tell people to not do it?
You kept wondering, why are there so many recipes out there? Why are there like cookbooks, and why are restaurants serving them? It's not because they taste good.
It's another reason.
Apparently some people, maybe this is just if you go to the right Reddit forums or the right TikTok channels, you'll find people that think cicadas will get you high.
I thought they were eating them if they were high. I thought it was that way, but they say that besides being a source of protein and carbs, like the right... Is it a complex carb? I don't know. But they were wondering if you get some sort of buzz or high out of eating them. Or is it like your adrenaline is rushing? You rip the wings off. Don't eat the wings. And then you just eat the bug itself.
Or maybe
what would it do?
Aphrodisiac.
Oh, I don't know. That's worse. That is so worse. It's like, please don't say that is.
But why do we have to warn people? It's always like things that are gross. People anything that's gross to eat, people are like, but maybe it gets you high. And
maybe
we have to then go ahead and debunk that. Well, this is Ohio State. They call him Bug Doc Dave. That's, I think, his words, not ours. But
that's his nickname?
It's his nickname. His real name is Dr. David Shetler. And he just did a Mythbuster little situation where he answered some questions to try to debunk some myths about cicadas. And the number one myth is, will eating cicadas get you high? Now, he says not likely. This is from a doctor. So he doesn't say it's impossible. Apparently, I guess the myth is based in truth that you would have to eat about 100 of the insects. And the insects, the cicadas themselves, have to be infected with the fungi, Massapora cicadina fungi.
Well, it's worse.
That's what would get you high.
This, you don't have to worry, though. It's for someone who weighs 140 to 150 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't weigh that wonderful weight and you're more than that, you have to
eat even more.
More cicadas because it's based on your body
Not
weight.
that you don't have the option. They're out there. You could certainly find enough, I guess, to get here, but can you really stomach that many cicadas?
I doubt it. They say that you would have to eat that many to start feeling the effects. And then he also answered questions. This is the one that I hear the most is if you're allergic to eating cicadas, because they kept saying if you have a like a shrimp or a lobster sort of shellfish sort of allergy, that it's so similar, you'd have to watch and make sure you did not have an allergic reaction to it. Will they hurt your pet if your dog eats them? Yep. So he was answering some of those.
Right. So that they won't hurt your animals. And
well, I would if my dog tried to eat
right.
I'm going to rip that thing right out of their mouth.
Sydney told me she remembers the last time that the cicadas came out. Or no, actually, it wasn't the last time. It was a different time when a different set of cicadas were out in Virginia and she was visiting. And she said her dog or one of the dogs there ate one. And so it was making noise as the dog chewed it. So, it was making its death screams. And all of a sudden it was gone. So
that is gross.
That's hard to imagine, hard to Hard to imagine my dog doing that.
Oh, I can imagine mine. And they're outside. I have a fence, so they're just out there on the road. And they stare at the fence like, what's going on over there?
If nothing else, it feels like it would be fun for a dog to chase them around because there's just so many. I don't know. But.
And then back to the allergy part, they say, if there's a chance, if you're allergic to shrimp or lobster, that you might actually get a allergic reaction to a cicada. But that's all going back to why if you're eating a cicada.
Anyone can underpromise and overdeliver, except these two. The Riot RadioU.
We're over here just getting excited about the DC Super Pets movie. We don't even have a trailer. I don't think we have any. I've got a little GIF here from the movie is what it looks like. But what we have is the Super Pets cast. And what this is, it's an animated movie. It looks along the lines of like Secret Life of Pets, like that kind of style. It's that
style of it,
right? But it's actually based off of the DC superheroes, the DC universe. And
so it's their pets, like the superhero pets?
Because the star is the main character will be Crypto, the super dog, which is Superman's dog.
I thought it was just like, here's Superman, but in dog form, but it's the actual character's dog. Okay, I gotcha.
Right, so what we know is that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson will definitely be Crypto, the super dog, which is Superman's dog. And then
Kevin Hart
is Batman's dog, which is Ace the Bat Hound. I vaguely remember Crypto, the super dog. I don't know how canon all of this stuff is, how does it really fit in with the comic book universe, or if they're just doing it for fun. But I've seen the dog before. It's not like they just came up with it.
I don't think they're really worried.
No, they're not.
I don't think they really care too much.
But for you as a watcher, if you're really entrenched in the DC universe and you want to know how this fits in to the whole thing, I don't think it really does
fit into it.
No, I think it's just vaguely attached.
So the one person we were concerned about is Keanu Reeves is playing one of the characters. And now, Hudson, I was trying to explain to him off air, I love John Wick. Second and third, we have our arguments about it. But the original John Wick, that's my style.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of fighting. Yep. Just a simple story, though. Simple movie.
Well, he loves his dog in the movie.
And dogs. Here we go. He's a dog here. I understand that it's good to keep doing other things. You got to stay busy.
Well-rounded.
I don't think he needs to make money, but he does to donate to other people, which is what Keanu does. He's a great guy, but I don't love everything else he does. I just love John Wick.
So you're already, I'm
turning on him.
I see you not just turning on Keanu Reeves as an actor and not supporting him fully as a person, but also I see you turning on this movie that you haven't even seen a second of footage of before you even give it a chance.
I'm just not, don't expect me to have to go see it because Keanu's in it.
What if you don't know?
I'm a silent supporter.
Maybe he's playing John Wick in the movie and it's an animated version of John Wick.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And maybe some tragedy befalls one of the other dogs in the movie.
Oh, no.
And John Wick has to come in and help and he's all of a sudden inducted into the DC universe.
Well, that'd be amazing, but it would be if the dog's owner was killed.
I guess it'd be reversed. Yeah, that's right.
It would be reversed than what we have in John Wick.
A tragedy befalls Superman and he has to assist.
He has to come out. So the DC's League of Super Pets, that's it, is going to be released May 20th of next year.
And not only, if you want to look at some of the other cast, maybe this will excite you. Kate McKinnon will be in the movie from Saturday Night Live and Ghostbusters.
Yeah, okay, she's pretty good.
John Krasinski, all of a sudden he's all over the place. Again, trying to...
He's talking again.
Make sure that you... That's right. Making sure that you don't only remember him as Jim and you don't only think of him as the director of The Quiet Place.
Sure.
He's also in DC Super Pets. And then Natasha Lyonne, Diego Luna, and Vanessa Bayer is also a part of the cast. So maybe that's exciting to you.
We would say rate and review the podcast. But let's be honest, that would probably hurt more than hell. The worst of the Riot podcast.
This is struck a chord because earlier we talked today about the Friends cruise, and I held back a little bit. I don't like Friends, But I don't want to.
Show.
I hate
Everything's out of context if you just saying I don't like Friends.
Yes.
Like people think
well,
you
I don't
want
really like
Friends.
having friends either. It's too much work. But I don't like the show Friends, but I really don't. I try to make a very concerted effort to not make my personality, well, here are the things I don't like.
Sure.
So I don't, and lots of people do like Friends, and that's fine. You can just watch it.
But you
I just don't want to
like-
hear you talk about it.
Okay, that's being a bad friend. That's being bad. You don't want to be that way.
But then, so we talk about the Friends cruise, and I hold back. Plus, the cruise didn't have a whole lot to do with Friends anyways. It was just in the name. It's really, none of the characters are there or anything. But then I see this. There is a Friends musical that is going to be touring the United States.
Now, you're learning a lot about Hudson. So if you're keeping score, he hates Friends, the TV show.
Yep.
I'm going to let you also know he hates musicals.
I hate musicals
as well.
unless they're ironic musicals.
But I think this is
I
supposed
like
to be-
ironic musicals. I don't like sincere musicals.
Is this a parody, though, I thought?
I don't
Or is
know
it
if it's a parody of Friends or a parody of a musical or either way. Like, I feel that will only make it worse. You know,
just don't
like there's
want
some
it.
things that if you try to make them funnier than they already try to be, it just makes it even more cringe to me. And that's what this has written all over it.
So this will be touring this fall. It's going to be a 52-city tour, actually this summer and into the fall. And it's called Friends, the Musical Parody. It'll play at different theaters. So, yeah, it's just lovingly makes fun of TV's Friends, celebrating the misadventures of the group of friends during the show.
I
That's
just
a
don't.
no?
I just don't want to see any more of this. I really.
You're really getting tired of the Friends stuff.
And I guess like I can't even blame Friends because this isn't it's not actually officially endorsed by Friends, the
it's
show,
not?
I don't think. So it's not like HBO Max is putting this on and then they're going to film it and then promote it to me in my HBO Max app or anything. But I just don't even want to see this. If this really is, the things I guess it's just your imagination may be even worse than what the thing
What it
actually
actually
is. And so as soon as I start imagining a Friends musical,
You get mad?
It makes me mad because my imagination
you
is
need
just the worst thing I can think of.
You need a hug or some water or something.
I need a break. I need a break.
If you've ever asked yourself, just how bad can it get? We've got your answer right here. Worst of the Riot, RadioU.
Now's a very big time to join us on the RadioU Riot Facebook page because we've got a guest in studio, and this is a big one. She's been on America's Got Talent as of last night. It's Nightbirde, a.k.a. Jane, or maybe it should be the other way around.
Aw, good morning,
It's
Jane.
glad to have
Good
you with
morning.
us.
Yeah, it's so exciting to be here. Last night was totally nuts, and I slept for precisely 60 minutes.
Oh, no.
And I just could not fall asleep. It was unreal, obviously.
You were so excited.
Yeah, well, it was
Yeah.
so cool seeing all the comments coming in on Twitter and stuff following along with it. So was that kind of keeping you up? Were you following along with those and seeing all that come in?
Yeah. Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. And just being inundated with emails and texts and phone calls and then Googling myself. It's just it's circular and it's endless. And I was just high on life last night. It was awesome.
Well, I thought you waking up this morning too, even after just 60 minutes of sleep. But when you woke up, it just the positive support that we've seen, like your social media just must be crazy this morning.
It absolutely is crazy. And there's nothing that makes me feel like more full in life than to be able to like encourage other people. And so I'm just getting so many messages from people who said like they really needed to hear the song that I sang.
Yeah.
And it means so much to me.
So why
we
don't
haven't said anything about what happened.
That's what I was going to
last
say. Should we
night?
fill everybody in, or do you just want to say you have to go watch it on Twitter or YouTube, or do you just want to spill all the beans?
Well, you decide. I'm not going to decide.
Well, I wanted you to be the one to tell everybody what happened last night
Absolutely.
during yours, because for Nightbirde, she performed on America's Got Talent last night, but it wasn't just that you performed, but then what did they give you?
Last night, I got the golden buzzer from Simon Cowell on America's Got Talent.
Was that weird?
Oh my gosh. I would have never imagined in 100 years that I would get the golden buzzer from Simon Cowell. That's a big deal. Well, getting the golden buzzer at all is a big deal. Five people get it out of tens of thousands of people that audition. But to get Simon's is a huge deal because he's really difficult to impress and difficult to please. So it was completely surreal. And if you see the video, I immediately fall onto the ground. Onto the ground. Yeah, and I was... There was a lot on the episode that that they have to cut for time.
Of course.
But I was on the ground for a long time. Long time.
Well, everybody always wonders too, like, how do they clean up all the confetti when you get the golden buzzer? It's like, do you have to wait while you're there, or do they come in after you? But
do extra shots with the confetti.
Do they get more than one for it? But it was just, we watched it on YouTube after it, and it was just so wonderful. Like, we love Nightbirde. We love you.
I love you guys too.
We always have, and just the support that we saw last night, and the fact that they're recognizing your talent and just the inspiration with it. We were all crying last night.
I know. I was thinking we all last night. It was so late. We were like, well, we should be in bed, but each of us, I know, we've all said why are we lying in bed crying?
Why not? Right now.
Yeah, you have to.
For Nightbirde, I was just curious, like, what made you decide to even try out for America's Got Talent?
Yeah.
Well, I've been through a lot of hard stuff, right? And I always want to be the kind of person, not just that knows how to take a punch from life, but like who knows how to hit back. And auditioning for America's Got Talent was a huge risk for me because even when I went to go on stage, I was not feeling well. And if you see the video, you can tell that I'm really underweight and I'm like kind of frail. And maybe other people wouldn't notice it, but for me, I know that my voice was not 10 out of 10. It was not up to my personal best. But auditioning for America's Got Talent was just my way of hitting back, and it obviously went amazing.
Yeah.
And Maggie just texted in and said Jane deserves this more than anyone. And Colin said, super happy for you getting the golden buzzer. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you, Maggie and Colin.
The Riot Podcast. RadioU.
We actually have Nightbirde.
Yay!
Her real name is Jane in the studio. She performed that song on America's Got Talent last night. It was more of a different version of it.
Yeah, an acoustic version.
It turned out so well. How did you decide that was the song you definitely wanted to do for your first performance?
I think that It's Okay was and is so meaningful for me right now. It's a song I wrote for myself when I really needed it. Mm-hmm. And America's Got Talent focuses so much on your story and kind of how you became what you are. And the song It's Okay just tied into everything that I've been through and everything I want to embody. And I was really happy that was a song they liked because they did ask me to prepare a couple.
Yeah.
But I did It's Okay first, and obviously they loved it. So, yeah.
And she was telling us during the song that this was done in April.
Yes.
So you've had a while to keep this.
I've been sitting on this for a long time.
That you got the golden buzzer last night on America's Got Talent with the song. So that's a lot to keep quiet about.
Okay. Yes. It was really, really hard. It was so hard to have. I had to pretend like it didn't happen at all.
Yeah.
It was so hard.
And then you could, if you told anybody, probably like your parents or friends or family, you have to make sure they don't tell anybody.
Yeah, that would be tough.
So you don't get in trouble.
Then they have to sign a non-disclosure.
I know,
right?
Yeah.
Aww. So with the golden buzzer then, if you haven't watched America's Got Talent, if you're just catching up, what does that all mean? And what is your schedule? What can you share about what's coming up for you?
Yeah, so right now they're still in the beginning stages of the show. So if you get the golden buzzer, there's only five golden buzzers for the season, and you basically kind of skip around. So everybody who gets a yes immediately from the judges doesn't necessarily move forward. They just move into a pool of people that they choose to move forward.
Okay.
So only 36 people move into the next round, and because I got the golden buzzer, I'm automatically in one of those 36.
Wow.
Well, Jason said, truly amazing, Jane. When you said during the show last night, you can't wait until life isn't hard anymore before you decide to be happy, that really struck him. Is that yours, or was that a quote from someone?
No, that was mine. Yeah.
Wow.
So many people have been that's the part that really hit with him, I feel like, last night.
Yeah, I didn't plan to say anything like that. It just kind of came out of me. Yeah, and now it's everywhere. Like it's a real quote or something.
Well, Mary says, "You're such an inspiration and so timely for me and my neighbors. We have a young man fighting cancer, and he had a hard past as well, and he's 19. Praying he'll find you an inspiration as well as keeping the faith."
Yes.
And then Willie says, "Nightbirde, if you read this, just how are you doing? How has it been?"
I am doing amazing. I'm on cloud 9. I could not be happier. Health-wise, I'm almost perfect.
Really?
So, yeah. It's just like miracles on miracles on miracles for me. So I did a couple more cancer treatments in California about a week ago, and we'll check in and see what's going on in a couple months. But doctors are pretty certain that it's going to be gone next time we check.
Wow.
Yay.
That's great
Eric
news.
says, super proud of you, Jane, all of Ohio, and not just Ohio, Eric, but has your back with the hashtag See Jane Win.
That is awesome.
If you did not see Nightbirde on America's Got Talent last night, you have to go watch it. Dave says, I was just watching it. I was already singing along. Thank you, Jane, and RadioU.
Amazing.
But it just awesome.
It really is. I want to know, what is it like behind the scenes? Do you even get a chance to interact with Terry or anybody else? Or was it such a whirlwind that you don't even have time to think about that kind of stuff?
Yes and no. I would say it's more of a whirlwind. It's like you're on the set of a movie.
It's busy.
Cameras everywhere, lights everywhere, busy, clipboards, headsets. It's like you go. But Terry did take a little bit of extra time to talk to me, and that meant a lot. He was extremely genuine. His wife has just recently beat cancer, so we had a lot to talk about. And then a couple of the judges approached me off camera to tell me that they really loved my audition, and that meant the world to me.
Yeah.
Because they have no obligation to compliment me or give me their time, and so that just really made my heart really full.
Of course.
To do that. Well, Phil's in the UK. He says, truly inspirational, Nightbirde, to be so positive. Your song performance was incredible. The storytelling was amazing and not forced and just effortless. Great news on the treatment. So thank you, Phil, for joining us and watching us. But yes, for Nightbirde, please say hi to her in the comment section. And I was going to mention too, I know as you're bringing up, you're still doing with cancer treatments and stuff, that people can still support on your GoFundMe, right?
Absolutely.
That is needed.
Yes, and on my Instagram and my bio, there's a little link tree, and you'll see right at the top. You can give to the treatment fund.
Aw,
That's
we have
really
to
awesome.
support Nightbirde.
Yeah, we have to help out.
Yes, we do.
So is there can we schedule ahead, or we still don't know when the next time you'll be on?
Oh, that's a good question. So the live shows begin on August the 10th, but I don't know what date that I'm going to be on for sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So it's 10th, 17th, or 24th, but I don't know when.
That must feel so far away, but also so close at the same time.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And I'm trying not to wish the summer away because I'm ready to go tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it is. It feels fast and slow at the same time.
Well, Shane says, congratulations. Everybody's just so behind you and with you.
I know.
We've got a whole community of people that absolutely love you and support you. So please don't forget about the GoFundMe. I think that's very important to support Jane during this time and just focus on this and focus on getting better and just being an inspiration to so many people. So please check out her GoFundMe. And then when she's back on America's Got Talent, everybody's ready and they'll be ready to show more love and support.
Yes.
I know. Everyone from Ohio is so behind. It's like Ohio versus the world. We got it. They're going to show up for me. I know 100%.
Everybody will. Well, for Nightbirde, we love you. We just are so proud of you, and you deserve it, and you worked hard. So that last night was just the start of it all again. So.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. It's so exciting.
This was the worst of the riot, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The riot exists because RadioU exists, and RadioU only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.